I would imagine in a few months, possibly April, May, maybe June, we will have an opinion from the court. If the court does give a good opinion, i.e. a majority opinion, that the occupation, for example, is illegal, or that it's become that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid, for example, and that states have an obligation perhaps to refrain from trading in arms, for example, that will then be referred back to the United Nations General Assembly. The General Assembly will take note of it, and then it'll have to pass a resolution. Now, those resolutions are not formally binding. They may then try to get it to the UN Security Council, where one would expect the United States to veto any attempts to enforce international law against Israel. However, it is possible that some states may take matters into their own hands. If the opinion is drafted well, if it's got a large majority, it would give some states the opportunity to, enforce international law themselves. It might give a reason for those states to cut diplomatic relations or to take measures to enforce international law. So even if it doesn't come from the UN Security Council level, it's possible for states to unilaterally implement sanctions. There'll be a vindication of their rights by the principal judicial organ of the United Nations. I think it also shows that Israel is isolated, or more isolated than perhaps if before the 7th of October, particularly amongst the global South states. And perhaps also becoming more isolated with states from areas it considers its friends, such as in Europe. We know from their written statements that they're going to challenge they're probably going to avoid addressing the substantive points that Palestine's made. They're going to simply ask the court not to consider the request at all on the grounds of jurisdiction and admissibility. But in my view, it's a very weak argument, given the special role of the court in matters concerning decolonization and the like.